friend, welcome back to my channel. I have 25 beauty empties to share with you. Because there are so many, let's just go ahead and start with the mascara portion of this video. I have quite literally a whole handful of mascaras to talk about. It's very interesting how many of these I really do love. So I'm just gonna talk about the ones I don't so much like to start. So first I have this Aaron's Faces. This is their matcha mascara in the shade Black. Last time we talked about this, they were going out of business, and the one that I purchased a 2-pack. The first one that I used essentially just was liquefied. It splattered everywhere. It was an awful experience. I'm talking about this because apparently someone else has purchased, I think if I read this correctly, purchased all of the formulas and the name of Aaron's Faces, basically bought the company, and there's been a resurgence. But I'm not buying it because this also wasn't very good. I just felt like this mascara used to be so good at adding beautiful thickening to the lashes and keeping them separated, and this just did almost nothing to my lashes. It really just felt like this formulation still wasn't great. So I don't know if Aaron's Faces changed the formula or if it was just because I had gotten product close to when they were shutting down, so the stuff just wasn't as good. I don't know, but I'm really weary of purchasing even from the new Aaron's Faces, because if those are the formulas that they are working with, I'm skeptical of them altogether. And it's just a real shame because I really enjoyed that mascara when it was in its prime, and it was not inexpensive when I bought the little duo. So womp womp on that front. The other one that I don't necessarily dislike, but I think is just okay, is this Tartelette XL tubing mascara. First off, this is gonna be one of the weightiest mascara tubes I've ever had. I just think for myself, I don't like tubing mascaras. I just prefer more of that traditional mascara removal and all of that. The tubing part just, I think, was harder to work with any of the cleansing balms when I had this on. The Tartelette mascaras in general are pretty good. It's just like a nice rubber wand. The effect of it was nice. It was just the removal part that I wasn't super into. So I won't buy this again, but I must have picked it up during some kind of mascara sale that Ulta was running. So that's when I tend to purchase Tarte mascaras. Now we're getting into some good ones. So I have basically 3 that I've repurchased a multitude of times. The first is the one from L'Oreal, the Telescopic Lift. I love this mascara. I got the black brown color, which I think I would probably get again. I just find this wand is excellent for my lashes, and the way it adds thickness and just the appropriate amount of length to my lashes, it really makes it look like I have true, almost false eyelashes on. It goes so far above my eyeliner line, and I can literally feel when I have it on, because I have somewhat hooded eyes, the tops of my eyelashes touching when my eyes are open, really open. They touch my brow bone area. So I just love this stuff. I really want to buy more of it and use it, but I have other mascaras that I am trying to use first before I can get more of this, but I seem to always like having a tube of this open in my life. The same can really be said for the Tower 28 Making Waves mascara in Jet. This is brown. I am drawn to this, one, because it's a true chocolate brown, not a red brown. I really hate when things are red brown, and it doesn't really work well with my complexion. I also love the way my lashes look with this stuff on. It is a drier mascara, which I think is my only con, in that because it tends to be a little bit on the drier side, I feel like I go through a tube of this really quickly, and it's not inexpensive. I lucked out, I'm pretty sure back when the holiday kits were out in December, I'm pretty sure I bought one during a discount, 20 or 30% off. So it was already discounted being in a pack of 2. And then I had an extra discount on top of it. So I will definitely pay full price for this, but if I can find it in a 2-pack or even 2-pack with a discount, even better, because this stuff is so good. I love the color. Love the look of my lashes. It's another one of those staple ones that I like to just have a tube of it on hand all the time. Another fabulous one is from CoverGirl. It's the Cleantopia Lash Blast Mascara. This is, again, gonna be my 2nd or 3rd tube of it. This is a hourglass type of wand, but maybe you can see that. I like how much product remains on here after you pull it through. I think that helps the hourglass really get a lot of product onto your lashes. I feel like sometimes, like with Better Than Sex, it would scrape so much off that I would get a lot of mascara on the outer part of the hourglass, so then I would have to like finagle the wand to all the right places. It's just a lot of maintenance. This doesn't have that issue and it just looks nice. I also do the black brown, and I like the look of that as well. So again, I would definitely repurchase this, probably at some point in the near future. And then the last one is from Essence. It's the Lash Princess Sculpted Volume Mascara. This is not my favorite of this line. I like the False Lash Effect one better. The wand of this has like a slight curve to it. And again, it's good. It's certainly not bad. It gives me a little bit less than, not as intense as the L'Oreal mascara does for the effect on my eyes. Not a bad one. I really would get it again, but I only got this because I was trying out, again, in a kit they sold during some holiday. They had all the Lash Princesses in one, so I bought it when it was on some kind of, I think, like extra discount on top of being in a bundled package. It's cheaper anyways, and I wanted to try the whole collection. It still doesn't remove the False Lash Effect one for me, but it's not a bad one by any means. Let's do an old one in which you might judge me, but we're doing it anyways. We listen, we don't judge. It is a setting powder. This is the Urban Decay The Velvetizer Translucent Mix-In Medium. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as a very big setting powder person, but I got on a setting powder kick with the Jaclyn Hill, Robin, like with her mother collaboration, where they came out with a specific powder that for some reason pulled me in. I think it must have been, if I remember in like the deep memory of my mind, she described it as a setting powder specifically meant for people with dry under eyes. That is my whole brand, basically. And so I purchased it and I loved it, and it has since been discontinued. So then that kind of put me on a path of being like, well, maybe I should just try to use all the setting powders that are in my collection. And I tended to have a lot that were in this smaller-esque size. Now, I say that this was the full size when it came out, and I'm pretty sure it was meant to be used for, as it says, a mix-in of some kind. I don't know what we were mixing it in with. I ended up using it as an under eye setter, and it was lovely. I'm quite sad that it is gone and can't be repurchased, and it's been gone for some time, but it was a good product, and I just can't seem to find a current under eye powder that is good at sort of setting and not letting things sink into my creases too badly and not drying out my eyes and making them look like dry and crepey. I'm trying the Laura Mercier powder right now, and like it's fine, but I'm not super in love with it. So this truly was at like the peak of Urban Decay, and I wish that they would bring innovative products like this back into their whole line. I have 3 setting sprays that I have used up. I have this Tarte Shape Tape Stay Spray. I was pulled into this during, I think it was last spring's Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, just because I love a setting spray and it was pretty inexpensive, like right around the same price as what a drugstore one would be for this size. So I was like, let me go ahead and try it. It's fine. It was nothing super special, super noteworthy. It did not beat out my MAC Fix Plus. I don't think it's better than that. I'm really looking for a setting spray that can sort of just help like breathe a little bit of life back into my face, but also keep makeup on my face. That's a really important thing for me in the winter when I start to get just really translucent, because I haven't seen any kind of quality sun in a long time. So I wouldn't buy this again, even at the half price mark, because I just don't think it's worth the dollars for it. I also tried the Essence Fix and Last Keep It Perfect Makeup Fixing Spray. This is inexpensive, but truthfully with setting spray, I feel like I went through it really fast. So cost per use probably wouldn't be as inexpensive as buying something bigger that's got a higher price tag to it. It also, again, wasn't anything that I thought wow, this is really having a helpful impact on the way my makeup appears on my face. So I'm probably unlikely to buy this one again. I then come to my last one, and it's like a devastating realization. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I really like this stuff. This is my second one. I may even like it more than the MAC Fix Plus spray, which that has been one of my favorites for quite some time. But this stuff just does all the things that I want. It really does kind of help breathe life into my face and help everything sort of like feel like it is very cohesive. It gives it that cohesive vibe and then also keeps it on my face all day. So I'm currently using the rest of my MAC Fix Plus, and I think when the time comes, I will probably buy a full size of this. I will try to use like a 20% off to help soften the blow of it, because it's a pricey product, especially for it being there's no color pigment in it, and it's one of those items that you know you're going to go through pretty effectively. So all of that pains me, but I can't not tell you the truth, which is that I like this one the best out of all my recent discoveries. Okay, a few utility players to just give a shout out to. I have two of the Clean Queen Solid Brush and Sponge Cleaner. Ugh, all the words, can't get them out. But I have two of them. I am testing out a new theory. We have discussed that I have a big brick of Dove bar soaps that my husband lovingly purchased for me on super clearance, which is why he actually bought them. And someone suggested that maybe I try using a bar soap, which is not a bad idea. I could have always done that, but I feel like I'm more pushed to want to do that to help move some of those boring bar soaps out of my life, but they're big. So I'll try that first. What I like about these is they are easy to work with. They suds up nicely, get all the product out, and leave my brushes feeling nice, which those aren't really difficult things to achieve for bar soaps, but I don't actually know for sure. So I'm going to test that out, and if it works, I won't buy these for quite some time, if maybe ever again, but for now they've been a big staple for me. I also am a big fan of their daily brush cleaner. I have two of these. However, new update, they no longer sell the Jelbo one. Haven't sold that one since I think the pandemic, so 2020. But I also now can't open these. They seem to be screwing them very tightly where you're not meant to open them. I've asked my husband to open them. He hasn't been unable to, and he's got better grip strength than me. I'm not going to take like pliers to these to try to open them, but it does make it annoying because as the product gets further and further down, it doesn't spray out as evenly and effectively, where as before I would just at that point dump it into my next one, like use my next fresh one a little bit, let it get down a little ways, and then dump the rest of the old one in. I can't do that anymore, and it's sort of a nuisance, but again, I still really like this stuff, so I will continue to buy it because other companies who sell this, it's like such a high price tag, and I don't want to pay a high price tag for this kind of product. Final two utility players. First, I have the Garnier Micellar Cleansing Water All-in-One Waterproof. I use this in connection to these. This little baggie here, I'm telling you this, kept this sad, weird baggie because I have found a generic version of the Q-tip beauty tips that actually are very similar and I like them. So they came from Amazon. I will link them down below. I'm not an affiliate, not special like that. If you use the beauty tips from the Q-tips brand, a lot of words there, then you might want to check these out because the beauty Q-tips are very hard to find, and the ones on Amazon I just feel like are over expensive for what they would be if I could find them in a store, but I can't find them in a store, so here we are. I use these together because I don't put any kind of eye makeup on my lower lash. I don't put mascara here. I don't put eyeshadow there. I just don't highlight the under part of my eye. If you're new to the channel, the reason why I don't do that is because I have quite long but sort of sparse underband of lashes here. So whenever I have done that, it just looks a little bit odd. It doesn't look nice and full and cohesive like my upper lash band does. So I just don't bother, but I do inevitably nick when I'm putting on mascara, my overlapping of lashes in the corner. I always have some kind of like fallout from eyeshadow because I'm a little bit messy. So I just use a little bit of this with some beauty Q-tips and sort of clean up that under eye area, and these are great for the job. I have purchased bigger ones than this before, but I can tend to get them these pretty cheap with like a CVS coupon, and I don't have to worry about having this big container because I will travel with this. It's like a vital part of my makeup routine, and I don't want to have to worry about transferring something from a large container to a small container. I just keep the travel size one. All right, we have two foundation products to talk about. One is my Mix-In Medium, which is the LA Girl Pro Color Foundation Mixing Pigment. This stuff is a lifesaver. It's very rare that I can find foundations that are light enough for my skin tone. And so this has been immensely helpful for getting those products to meet my skin where it is. Love this stuff. It's relatively inexpensive. I just repurchase it as soon as I run out of it. And I wouldn't say I run out of it too frequently, maybe like once every 18 months, 12 to 18 months, I have to rebuy this. So definitely recommend it. And then I have this foundation product that I purchased during an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. It's the Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer Long Wear Makeup in the shade 1N1 Ivory Nude. Wow. The fact that they call this sheer tells me all I need to know about the Double Wear foundation from this line that I feel like had a real moment here on YouTube. I never explored it because I was never someone who was interested in a full coverage foundation from them. But when they described this one as sheer, I was like, oh, maybe I will like this. The first strike against it is it's actually not the best color match for me. Unless I was mixing it with the LA Girl, I could not wear this straight. So that caused a barrier to it. But when I did wear it and it had that nice mixing, I wouldn't call this sheer. This is probably one of the more full coverage foundations that I had in my collection when I was using it. But despite how full coverage it really was this thin, breathable texture. Like it blended very well onto my skin. It was no joke. You could tell I had a foundation on, but it felt very much like I didn't have a heavy layer of product on my face, which was really nice. So I wouldn't lie, if they'd had this in a shade that matched me, I probably would buy it again. But I really don't want to knowingly buy foundations that aren't a good skin match for me. So I probably won't get this again, but definitely something where if the way I described this sounded like it could be your jam and they have your skin match, I would probably buy it because it is a long wearing, solid, but not too heavy kind of foundation. And that I do like. I have my go-to stick concealer that I use to target some areas of redness and blemishes that I might have. It's Old Faithful from Revlon Photo Ready Concealer in the shade 001 Fair. This stuff is great, such a great bang for your buck. I am always able to buy it for a significant discount with CVS couponing. They seem to always be doing discounts on Revlon, which is great for me, but I'm always like scared they're gonna get rid of the whole line. But this stuff is just number one. This has gotta be close to my 10th tube of it because literally once I discovered it, this is the end all be all. I wouldn't say I go through it at an overly fast rate, but I do consistently use it up and then just rebuy it. So it is the only stick concealer in my life and I love it. Another staple product that I have used on repeat, it's my Maybelline Single Shadow in the shade Linen. Oh yeah, these for a small period of time were hard to come across. And then I was at a grocery store I don't frequent very often, and they had a bunch of their makeup just sitting in a bin that was being significantly discounted, and they had a few of these. So I purchased a few. This has been a lifesaver for my eyeshadow palette collection because I really use a shade like this every day after I'm done putting down my Painterly paint pot just to kind of help neutralize the skin tone of my eyelid. I then go in with this shade right in here, and I just find that it helps all of my shadows blend better. And then when I'm done to kind of help like blow out my crease color, blend it all in, I come back to this. So it is a vital part of my entire eyeshadow look. And it's just, again, a great price point for how much I use it. And it has saved me from continuing to just wipe out all of those types of bone colored shades in all of my palettes, which isn't a bad thing until you go to travel and you're like, oh, right, this palette doesn't have the one critical shade that I need it to have. So inevitably, I just always travel with one of these. They're very compact. They're the best. I have 4 lip products, 3 of which I've actually used and one of which I just cannot stomach using anymore, so it has to go. And that is the Trader Joe's Vanilla Lip Mask. I've really given it a good effort here to work through this, but I just don't love how thin this is, how like slippy it is on the lips. It's just, it's like thin but slippery. And then the flavoring, nope. It's clunky. I don't love it. There's a lot of great things at Trader Joe's. This, in my opinion, is not one of them. So it's being removed from my life. And I've got 2 Summer Fridays lip butter bombs. The first one is one that came in a kit Christmas of 2024. This is the second one that I've used in there. What I will say is these types of shades aren't normally my jam, but I bought them thinking that they wouldn't actually have any pigment. False. There is true pigment in these, which I will say is something, if you're looking for, that really does exist in this collection. These are just used in the morning after I'm done putting on my eye primer and my face primer. I put a little bit of lip balm on while I do the rest of my makeup just to kind of help hydrate my lips. So it didn't matter that it had a little bit of a color shade that I wouldn't normally wear. This was decent. But an interesting twist of fate, I have this one, which I got for my birthday Sephora gift. And this is, I think pink sugar yeah, this is vanilla beige. This one's pink sugar. Nope, didn't like this. I really think it comes down to, I swear, texturally, these aren't the same. But I think what it really made me dislike this one was the flavoring. Something about this flavoring, every time I put it on, I was like, oh, I don't like this. But it was my lip balm at school, which is what got me to use it up. In general, I will say, I don't think I fully get the hype of these. I just don't think this formula is my preferred lip product formula. So once the ones in my collection, I think I have just 2 more of these size left, I will not buy any more of them. I have definitely scratched that itch and I've discovered that it's just not for me, so I won't go back. And the other lip product that I have is one of a few that I have used up. It's the Jaclyn Cosmetics, I don't know what all the words were, but it's Jaclyn Cosmetics. And this was in the Petal Drip. This was basically her lip oil. And I really did love these. Again, she's a problematic person. I don't necessarily want to support her, but I can't lie. A lot of the products that were in her cosmetics line that I purchased, I really liked. And I've used up, I did the 2 foundations, the powder. I have used up, I think 2 of these. This is my another one. We're on 6 products from one brand that I've used up entirely. I don't know how many brands I could name that for. So it doesn't matter. The whole line is gone, but I really loved these. And like I said, I feel like I might have one more, but I could be lying to myself because I'm in denial. But this stuff is so good. I mean, I loved how big the doe foot applicator was. This I wouldn't consider a lip oil. It really had body to it, but I love glossy lip products with body to them is really who I want to be, and I loved it for that. I mentioned this, but speaking of primers, I have my go-to eye primer, which is the Milani eyeshadow primer base. This stuff is the best bang for buck. I recently repurchased it and it's now in a purple tube. Don't really know why, but it is, and I will keep rebuying it. It is just so helpful for longevity and also blendability of shadows. Can't recommend this stuff enough. And then I have one of my other go-tos, which is the Professional Pore Primer. I like to get this stuff when it's half off, and it tends to be a repeat offender in Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty. Sadly, this year it wasn't included, so I couldn't rebuy it. I will probably, if push comes to shove, buy this full price, but I'm still using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Liquid Primer, which is kind of the one I switch on and off with. I could see myself buying that one again over this and holding out for a significant sale because the e.l.f. one isn't bad. I do like this one. I just don't want to pay the full bucks. I'm a cheapo, okay? I'm a cheap person. Times are hard in this economy. So I will try to hold out, but this stuff I really do love. I really like the feel of it on my skin. I feel like it does a nice job helping fill in some of my pores, giving me a really strong base to put foundation on. And all of that, like texturally, it checks off boxes. So this stuff is an OG for a reason. And when I can get my hands on it for cheap, I like to. All right, my friend, there you have it. Those are the 25 beauty products that I have used up and am saying goodbye to. Thank you so much for spending some of your day with me, and I'll catch you in my next video real soon. Bye.